Hey guys, so following up on the first few videos I took in this series, which are sharing a little bit more into my thought process and my health journey and kind of what I'm doing and thinking now compared to what I was several years ago when I wasn't as far along, I guess as I would say I am now in my healthy lifestyle. But I just want to be really open and honest about the fact that I still have many of the same thoughts that I used to have when it comes to, binging and overeating and, sabotaging really my goals and my weight loss and my weight maintenance and all of that. It's just that I handle them a little bit differently now, which is why I wanted to start taking these videos and share them with you guys, because I know what it feels like to be in that and to struggle through it and not really know what to do or how to do it, and to feel like I just needed to give in to those thoughts all of the time. But now that I know that I don't and I have gotten through it, I feel like I have to share, my thoughts and everything on it. So that is what I'm doing specifically in these videos. So wanted to share a little bit of a recap on my birthday and kind of what happened and what I think changed and why I was able to manage it and handle it the way that I do now and never did before. So I shared before in a couple of my videos that prior to my birthday, years in the past, and even vacations and really any trip or like relaxing kind of situation, celebration, I would plan a binge for like days. I would think, what can I shove in my mouth and what can I eat and plan to, just eat massive amounts of food that would leave me feeling like absolute garbage. I knew it ahead of time, but I planned it. It was like I looked forward to doing this self-destructive thing to myself. And then I would pay for it for a week later. And by pay for it, I meant literally physically be sick about it, but I also mean like restrict myself to the point where I was barely eating. I would eat like fruits, vegetables, and grilled chicken. Like it was just this thing I did, which was ridiculous, and I do know why I did it, but anyways, that's besides the point for this video. But I no longer do that, and when I start to get those thoughts, which I do every single time, like, oh, let's like plan what you're gonna have next when you're binging, and I'm like, wait, but I don't do that anymore. That's not my life anymore. And that is one huge mindset shift that has been super helpful for me, is when those thoughts kind of creep in, I'm like, wait, no, that is not me. I don't do that anymore. Like, that's not how I want to treat myself. So anyways, I'm going to give you guys kind of a recap of how my birthday weekend went and some of the thoughts that I had around it. My birthday was on Friday, and Thursday during the day, I had these thoughts leading up to it, but like I said, I kind of have been working through managing them. Thursday, I get a delivery, and it is Garrett's popcorn from Chicago. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Garrett's at all, but it's really good popcorn. It's caramel and cheese blended together, and it's just super amazing. And people wait in lines for like hours outside in Chicago to get it. My dad had sent it to my sister and I, and the box came and had like 20, 30 bags of individually packaged Garrett's popcorn. And I got it, and I was like, in the past, I would be having a lot of anxiety over this box of popcorn sitting here. I would probably rip it open. I would eat a ton of it. But I didn't feel that way this year. And I think it comes down to a few things. One, that I knew that I was in control. I know that I'm in control of the food, and I remind myself of that as maybe I do start to get some of those feelings at some point in time. I also know I can have these things whenever I want them, and I remind myself of that. You don't only get to have it on your birthday. You don't only get to have it on the weekend. You can literally have it any time of day and as much that you want to all the time. And I think in the past, I was always feeding myself with restrictive thoughts that made me feel very, very restricted. And then on my birthday, I would feed myself with, you're amazing, it's your birthday, you can have whatever. But it wasn't like that all the time. So then I would feel like, okay, I have to shove it all in now because it's going to end at some point. I literally would put myself in like a famine and then just kind of open the floodgates on my birthday, which obviously didn't work. And it was always such an all or nothing thing. And it's not like that anymore. It's kind of like I can still be good and have some caramel and cheese popcorn. So I think that's a big shift for me. And also planning ahead, knowing that, okay, you're gonna have a bag of popcorn. You're gonna open a bag and you're gonna eat it. And then you're gonna put the rest away because I had it, I enjoyed it, and that's what it's for. My dog is in the background, so if you guys hear that, like those noises, it's my mini golden doodle. Hey, Jack. So then dinner out that same night. I had dinner planned with some friends. So we went and we had drinks and we had appetizers. And while I'm sitting there, I'm literally thinking about this because I'm recording these videos, and I'm like, what can I share around this experience? And I think my main thing is, in the past, I have felt anxious when I go out to eat, and I still sometimes do absolutely get those feelings. And I think they come down to me thinking again that I need to eat all of this food before it's over and taken away from me. So I just really have to remind myself over and over again that I can choose to have any of these foods at any time, and that more isn't always better. And I think I shared this in another video too, that at one point I was sitting out at a restaurant waiting to order or waiting for my food and thinking about the portion sizes of things and if I was going to get enough, and really questioning, what does that even mean? What is enough? Is it something that tastes really great and we have a certain amount of it and are content, or is it eating until we literally feel sick? And I think kind of questioning that made a big difference for me. So that Thursday night, drinks, I had some appetizers, but I went into that night knowing that, one, I wanted to feel good when I left because my birthday was the next day, and I wanted to feel good all day. I want to feel good all the time. So I was eating, in a way that I was going to leave that meal feeling good. Two is I knew that the meal was coming ahead of time. So I had a plan. I was going in and I was going to order food that looked good to me and leave the food that didn't look that amazing to me. And I also knew that the next day I was going to be eating out all day too. So I just knew that stuff ahead of time. And then three, just managing my emotions and my mindset and the thoughts that were coming in telling me to order 6 things when I know I really only needed 3 and could really only eat 3 mini appetizers. It was tapas style. So they were small plates. You guys are probably 3 dishes. Who orders 3 dishes? I do, but anyways, it was small plates. So then again, just managing those thoughts when they come in, just being wait a second, you know what? I want to feel good. I'm going to order the stuff that tastes best. I don't want to spend $200. I'm going to order 3. Thank you, brain. Kind of shutting that off. So then Friday morning, my husband was going to get me a cake that ended up not being made. So he comes home and tells me this long story, and he's like, but they gave me all these cookie bars instead. So they're cookie dough bars with brownie. And he brings those home instead. So I'm okay, it's Friday morning. Yeah, it's my birthday, but I don't need to have a cookie dough bar breakfast. So what I did is I love cookie dough. I want to try it. I cut a piece off. I ate it. I tried it, and we put the rest away. We put it in the fridge or the freezer because I didn't want to eat that all day. So it really comes down to making those intentional decisions and deciding, okay, this is in front of me. My brain is telling me shove it all in your mouth right now because it's your birthday. But my higher self that has the control and the planning power is what do you want to do? Stop, slow down. What do you want to do? And for my own goal, which is to feel my best as often as I can. So I literally have to separate that out, deal with those feelings that are still there, and, decide I want this portion and put the rest away, and I'm good to go. So then, midday, we had all that stuff. Friday night, I went out with my family to a Mexican restaurant. If anybody has been to a Mexican restaurant and has that problem with the chips, salsa, and guacamole and queso like I have and had in the past, I know that going into it now, so I have to kind of manage my mind around it. I have to just remember those thoughts are going to come in saying, it's your birthday, you can shove all this food in your mouth. It's your birthday, you can eat as many chips as you want. But it's yeah, I can, but do I want to? Do I want to celebrate my day and myself by doing that? I don't. So I have to just listen to those thoughts and kind of question them and think, well, what do I want to do, and be intentional about it. So I literally take chips out of the bowl, I put them on a plate, I decide how many I want. I don't count them out, I don't count calories, I literally just decide what do I want to eat. And then I eat those chips with whatever dip I choose. When I'm choosing my meal, I'm okay, what's going to taste amazing? What am I also going to feel good after I eat? So I make those decisions really intentionally. I had a margarita. I came home and I had some drinks. It's all about making those informed and intentional decisions. I knew I was going to wake up the next morning not feeling amazing, but I decided that ahead of time. Compared to what I probably would have done in the past is just chalk it all up to, it was my birthday. I didn't have any control over it. That's what you do, is you drink and you eat. But now I just decide that I want to do those things, or I don't. So that was kind of it. Saturday night, we had cake, cookie dough cake. We actually ended up getting it from the same place that had those cookie dough bars the day before. And they also delivered it with more cookies. So I had like a house full of cake and cookies, and we went out to dinner twice. And it's just, it brought it down to a few points that I'm going to go over here, is making those really, really intentional decisions, stopping in my tracks and slowing down and deciding, what do I want to do? And not letting those thoughts in my lower brain pull me into the fridge and end up having that food shoved in my mouth because it's my birthday. So that's literally what I think separates those 2 points. So a few things that were really helpful, some things I mentioned before and some that I didn't. One is that it's not all or nothing anymore. I can still be good. I can still be on my plan and eat foods that are not healthy. Cookie dough cake, cookie dough bars, chips, all of that stuff. I can eat that and not have to go into this downward spiral because I'm controlling my mind and my thoughts. I used to feel scared, anxious, hopeless, and out of control around food all the time. And I realized that came down to not trusting myself. I didn't trust myself around food because every time I made a plan, I didn't honor and commit to that plan. I gave into those lower brain thoughts that would pop in and that would say, Elena, just eat it, you're fine. But now I slow down, I stop, I listen to those thoughts, and I decide, what do I want to do next? What do I want to do next? I hear them, but I know that my higher self can make different choices, and you guys can too if you struggle with this. So really, instead of letting those thoughts take over, I don't try to resist or react to them. I don't push them away. I don't try to use willpower. I let them be there, and then I choose the thoughts that are empowering me. They're bringing in that motivation and taking me to that confidence place of, nope, my life is this now. This is what I do now. And I let those other ones just buzz around, and then I choose these new ones, and then these eventually go away. They're still there for a little bit. So you just let them be there. You acknowledge them. And it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you guys, it really, really works. Like, I am in a much, much better place than I was for most of my life with a lot of this stuff. And it's because I think of this whole mindfulness and mindset practice and the intentionality and awareness to it. And that's with what it really comes down to, is removing that restrictive thinking, because restrictive thinking is what makes you feel restricted, not the foods you are choosing to eat. You can be on a diet where you only eat broccoli, and if you choose that you're not going to feel restricted around that, you won't. And that's why I can literally eat the way I do now, which is mostly fruits, vegetables, proteins. And I don't eat a lot of that other food. Sometimes on occasion, obviously my birthday and, other days very intentionally, but I don't ever feel restricted because I choose those things. I don't let someone tell me I have to follow this diet and that I have to do these things. That whole have to, should, can't, that is what makes you feel restricted, not the actual foods themselves. And all of this stuff that I'm talking about really applies to any urge or craving that you ever get. Any feeling that you want to go and do something that is really pushing against what you want, whether you have a goal of weight loss or a health journey or anything like that. The whole mental process that you go through when you get those thoughts in your mind that eat that cookie, you need to eat those cookies, keep eating that food, acknowledging, literally sitting back, stopping, just sitting there and listening to that chatter buzz in your head and realizing you don't have to act on that you get to choose what you do in the next moment. And sometimes literally separating yourself from that food, like going into another room and sitting there and listening to those thoughts, not reacting to them, and just deciding you're going to choose a new thought. That no, I'm not going to do that. No, I don't do that anymore. But letting them be there is a huge important part of that process, and then processing through them. And also taking into consideration if you're wanting to go and participate in some of this, binging or overeating or giving into those urges and cravings to try to get rid of something else. So I know for myself, a lot of times when I was feeling restless is a huge one for me at night. It would kind of be like the day slowed down and I didn't really know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I could just calm down and sit on the couch and watch TV. So I would go like mess around in my kitchen and say I was like making a healthy dessert or something like that. It was just really, I didn't know how to just be. I didn't know how to just calm down. So I would go and like eat again. So it's really sometimes evaluating, are you trying to distract from or numb out or avoid a specific emotion or situation because you don't want to handle it with food? And that for me was what I was doing, like basically 24/7, good and bad emotions. So in a nutshell, I just rambled on for a while, but wanted to give a little bit of a recap, my thought process. I am always available to help anyone. I am a health coach. That is what I do. I'm available for one-on-one coaching, group coaching, workshops, speaking, all of that, which of course would be a little more structured than these vlog type videos that are just sharing my experiences and my thoughts. Really hoping that I am helping someone else who may be listening. But just to run through really quick again, the steps that help me is slowing down, stopping, not doing anything, paying attention and becoming aware what is actually going on in your head. What are those thoughts and that chatter that is buzzing up there? Becoming aware of your thoughts and feelings around food and everything else, and what your lower brain is telling you to do, and what it's telling you will feel if you do these things. Recognizing them, letting them be there, and then choosing new thoughts that are going to bring you the results that you want. New thoughts that make you feel confident, motivated, empowered. And lastly, which actually should be number one, is having a plan in these situations, especially in the beginning. I would never be here if I didn't have a plan in the beginning. You know, I'm going to do this in this situation, and start honoring that plan so you can build that trust with yourself, because that's something, like I mentioned back in the beginning, is I used to feel really anxious, hopeless, scared around food in general because I did not trust myself. I thought that I could not handle it because I continuously proved to myself that I couldn't be trusted because I would just go all in when I said I wasn't going to. So really having a plan, number one, honoring yourself once you commit to something. So again, if I can help with anything that you struggle with, let me know. I am at Elena Nicole Health on all of my social channels. Please subscribe and like the video. If you found this helpful at all, feel free to drop a comment if you have one, at Elena Nicole Health. And you can reach me, ElenaNicoleFit@gmail.com, or on any of my social channels. And I look forward to talking to you soon.